All right, there we go.
All right, we're up.
Yes, now the meeting is now live on Facebook.
Oh, hello.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Welcome to the meeting, everybody.
So it's nice to be back here with Mike Powers. I am Kathy Lamm. I am the marketing director here at Edgar Casey's ARE. And tonight we are having a very conscious conversation about patience. And patience, I think, is something that we all have been tested with, at
Mm,
least for the last several months, going
yeah.
through all this stuff. So,
Yeah, absolutely. You think about when we first started this whole thing with quarantining, and everybody in their mind said, "Oh, 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks, right?" Now we're at a year, the year anniversary of Virginia being quarantined, and everybody watching all over the world. I have no idea how long you've been quarantined, but I'm sure it's just as challenging, as painful at times. But again, we've tried our best to find the light in the whole thing, and there is a light, and I'm not going to say it's at the end of a tunnel, because it's this is what life is right now, and I think we're all doing as good as we possibly can.
yeah, I think so. And, you and I typically pick topics that are really relevant actually to what's going on in your life and in my life most of
Hmm.
the time, because what we realize is that everybody else is dealing with the same thing at the same time. And then I go in and I look to see what Edgar Casey had to say on the subject. And in searching the readings, he had over 1,300 readings with the word patience in it. So it is really a key, I think, to survival in body, mind, and spirit is the word patience. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I know that there's been a couple of things in your life currently where your patience has been tested. For me, I guess everybody's from time to time. Like right now, it's a good patience thing, but I'm patiently awaiting. I am getting new floors done. That's why, this is the office I typically do the show in, and you could see see, it's happening. It's all the
ooh,
happenings are all
very
happening.
pretty. It's all
Yeah,
happening.
it's all happening, and it will get there slowly but surely. But it's a fun thing. It's a fun process, and once the floors are all in, what's going to happen. The excitement of getting new floors is going to be over. We're going to have the new floors. We're going to enjoy them. It's going to be beautiful. But then it's going to be the challenge of putting the house back together. So, our patience is constantly being tested. And sometimes it seems to be a little more painful than other times. But there are a lot of fun things to play with when it comes to patience.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, I'm going to share something that Edgar Casey said about patience real quick. And I think that we can both relate to this.
Right.
So, so let me move this out of the way so I can actually say this. So it is in patience with yourself, in patience with your friend, in patience with your enemy that you become aware of your soul. Boy, isn't that the truth?
Mm,
That your soul, is in its activities prompted through the mind in accordance with the ideals you have set. So, what does this mean, Mike?
I would say that this means enjoy the journey that you're on. It's going to be filled with lots of good things and lots of really, really tough things. But in order to find your true self and be in your true nature, you need patience and commitment to patience in order to find that true self. And I love it. I mean, the quote itself says everything. You become aware of your soul,
That's right.
and you right after you said, isn't that the truth? And I actually have chills and goosebumps. I don't know if you see them right now, goosebumps running through my body, because yeah, it's all about awareness, and knowing when you're triggered, when these things trigger you, what triggers your impatience. And then through your soul and your true nature, you find, I would say, uh, a real path that kind of clears for you. on your way to your true self. And it's great. Like what a great line, what a great quote. Period. But that
Right.
line really got me.
Yeah, and when you think about it in reverse, you think about from the bottom up of the quote, it truly is based on what ideals you have set. The
Hmm.
ideals that you already have in place is the way that your soul is going to respond when it's prompted to through your
Yeah.
thoughts, through your activities. So, whatever ideals you have in place, whether they're good or bad, we all have them. That's how we're going to respond, as you said, based on triggers, perhaps, based on patience,
Hmm.
based on love. There's a lot of different ways that we can respond with our activities and through our minds and our words, but it's all goes back to what are our ideals. And I think that patience and ideals are very, very connected.
Yeah, and values, ideals, they're very important when it comes to your spiritual practice. How committed are you to it? How disciplined are you at times when it comes to it? Because, again, we're just trying to work these things out one at a time. And in society today, as we all know, we get everything all at once, whenever we want it, however we want it. And when it comes to a spiritual practice and finding your true nature, it's a life's journey, and it's even most of the time, all the time, beyond, unless you're a few people, special people, it's beyond this life as well. But the key is to inch your way there slowly but surely.
Yeah. And I think that we're constantly tested, we have to take it to the next level. So I'll share a little bit with you, and you already know this, but recently
Yeah.
I decided in the middle of winter, in the middle of the rainy season, to get two brand new puppies. Now, I raised twins 27 years ago. They were babies.
Yeah.
Having two puppies at one time during the rainy season, while I'm quarantined, essentially working a lot of the time remotely, I have now these two puppies running around who test my patients constantly. They offer great amount of love.
Yeah.
However, they completely test my patients
Yeah.
24/7. So,
It's hard work to be a parent, and it's even harder work to be the parent of somebody that doesn't speak the same language as you. They're talking in puppy, they're talking in love, all of those things, and cuddles, attention. But at the same time, it's still a huge amount of work. Raising a puppy is just as difficult as a child. A lot of
yeah.
times, a
And
little bit, and they're a little bit more demanding and spiteful.
yes, yeah, I agree with all of that stuff. I don't remember my twins eating everything and, just not listening to a saying. Well, maybe they didn't listen. Maybe they still don't listen. I
All right,
don't
I have a question for you. You have to give me an honest answer. Are you turning your new puppy raising experience, two puppies at once, into a spiritual practice, or is it grounding you in your humanity?
You know what? I think it's actually doing both. I
Okay.
think it's actually doing both. I've been doing a lot of deep breathing and dealing with the two of these. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's really funny because their personalities are so different. They're like two individual souls that I'm dealing with. And, I'm having to deal with those personalities differently. Now, don't we have to do that in life as well?
Yeah.
Whether we're at work, whether we're at home, our patience is tested, and then we have to deal with how a person receives us
Mm-hmm.
on the other end, what triggers they might have, what teachings they might have. The same with these puppies. I mean, they're not old enough to have a lot of teachings, but believe me, they come in with quite a deep soul.
Yeah, well, they're the ones closest to right
Right.
now. They're the ones that just came from source. We've been here a little while. We've forgotten some things, and they're the ones just living and being themselves and being. They're more spiritual than all of us put together watching right now. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so you're just trying to guide them in the right direction, and saying, well, if you're going to get along in this world, there's a couple of things you got to learn. I don't mean to condition you, puppies, but there's a couple of things that you got to learn in order to make it in the world, and not be annoying to me and to our guests, and respecting the house and the whole thing. And I'm glad that you brought the puppies up, because it's such a playful subject. oftentimes when we're talking about our spiritual practices and all the different things that go along with it, the conversation can skew pretty heavy. And over the years, I know personally, me, I've tried to keep it a little bit lighter at times and kind of laugh at myself, because there are some times I'm doing things that myself from 15 years ago would never be doing. It's like, oh my God, I got to go play a show. I got to make sure I got my beads on and my necklaces and all my things. And, I got to go through all these strange practices that I would think they were strange back in the day. But now it's a feeling, it's a reminder, however it is that you use these things. So you have to kind of like take it lightly. And I love this subject because it's a very light subject and it's a very lovely subject. And if you're somebody tuning in right now, and maybe you're somebody tuning in that is going through a heavy time, you're listening to Kathy talk about patience and dealing with her new puppies, and maybe failing at it a little bit, being good at it and also failing at it. And it's quite a beautiful way to teach. So thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think about it in how I relate to people as well and differently. And they have actually taught me how to be more patient and understanding with individuals, because watching them and seeing them and knowing where they come from, I keep saying to my husband over and over again, well, she's only been alive 9 weeks.
Yeah.
She has no idea what the world is like.
Mm,
We're just teaching her everything that she knows. Sometimes you have to deal with people like that too, because they may not know what your world is like or what you're experiencing or what you're going
yeah.
through or what your past triggers may have been, same as you
Hmm.
don't understand theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an excellent point, and it seems to always go back to that respecting everybody's story, their untold story. Because most of the people we're going to run into on a day-to-day basis, complete strangers, are people that in our minds we're going to concoct a story about them. So why not give them the benefit of the doubt? You don't really know what the story is with anybody. So that being said, let them make up the best possible one you can and assume that they might be having a day. As soon as you signed on, because we usually like to talk before we do these, and we haven't tonight. This is kind of like an off the cuff thing, which they mostly are, but we have like some bullet points and things that we want to get to. And Kathy signed on and says, I'm having a week. I was like, it's today's the first day of it, I think, right? It's Monday. And yeah, so it is. It's about being patient with yourself and your situation. There's going to be delay. There's going to be difficulty. There's going to be annoyance. But no, there's going to be something really beautiful on the other end of all those things. You just got to be patient enough to wait for it.
Right. And you know what? And I don't think that we need to beat ourselves up when we're not patient or when we lose it.
That's the worst thing we can
So,
do.
I consider myself to be a pretty spiritual person, but I lose it from time to time,
So,
like
so
every
happy
other
to hear you
human
say that.
on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing with the other thing that I've been dealing with for about 4 weeks now is no heat in my house. My heat pump went down, and I have a home warranty, and I'm dealing with a warranty company. And there's been a lot of back and forth since day one with this heat pump. And I really thought I got some confirmation last Wednesday that it was finally going to be fixed, and I was so excited. And I got an email on Friday from the warranty company, and it was like, no, we're
Oh,
asking for something else. Well, I called back, and I would have to say that I was not the nicest and the most spiritual person in the way
uh-oh.
that I responded to the other person on the other end. Now, mind you, I was aware that that was their job, that it had nothing to do with them. They hadn't been out of to see my heat pump. They had no idea what the issue was. They
Yeah, yeah.
weren't going to be able to resolve it. But I was at my wit's end, and I lost all composure. And it was
Wow.
not good. It was not pretty. And I felt terrible afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that in retrospect, I'd like to know what this person, how they responded to you, maybe kind of losing it a little bit. did they come back and were they understanding of your situation? Were they realizing like, oh my God, this person's really been put through the ringer here? You know, have no heat in a house. I mean, we're seeing what's going on in the world, and you're seeing what's going on in Texas, and a lot of those images. And I know, I'm sure it's not that bad, but you're seeing a lot of this stuff that goes on in the world, and you could kind of imagine just a little bit of what people would go through in these situations and how people would react, because you could be patient for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks, even some of you for even a lot longer than that. But there's going to be a breaking point, because a lot of times when I think we think we're being patient, we're actually just burying all of the things that trigger us. And I was like, I was being so patient. No, I wasn't. I was just waiting for my moment to shine and let it all out and tell somebody off. And this poor, unfortunate soul on the other end of the line was that person. But did that person give
Absolutely.
you back anything, or was it like a combative thing?
Well, actually, I don't really think that I ever gave that person the opportunity to say more than like 5 words.
Yeah.
So, in retrospective, there really wasn't a conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so when I calmed down and I was able to collect myself, and I was really able to look at, okay, what is the lesson in this for me?
Mm-hmm.
What am I being taught here that I need to be able to resolve? So I called them again, and I had another gentleman that I spoke to, and it was a very kind exchange. I was able to relay all the information, all the pain and suffering that we had been going through,
Yeah.
in my own story. And he was wonderful. And he said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen for you.
That's
Everything that's in my power, I'm going to make it happen for you.
Yeah, I think that's the thing right there. That's the teaching, because we're going to get it wrong, and we're going to get it wrong a lot of the times. But are we going to get it wrong and leave it be, or are we going to get it wrong and do our best to make a shift and actually try to fix these things? Again, it's nothing that it's like the ultimate fix. It's never going to happen again. But the fact that you stepped away, you put some awareness into the situation, which you have a lot of, and you have a lot. I mean, you're somebody that teaches. This is your thing. Like, this is your calling. This is your life, and you still have those moments. But the reason that you're a great teacher is the fact that you can take that step back, admit, oh my God, maybe this wasn't the right way to handle it. How would I do it again the next time? And the next soul wasn't a poor unfortunate one. It was somebody that, you know what, you made a connection with, somebody who really understood your situation, and you understood their situation on the other end of the phone a little bit better. So it's these are really good teachings. And I like, because this is kind of like one of those, like, just above small things, because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting the family and the dogs and just your everyday, day-to-day stuff that you have to do, to live a normal life. But I think, like, it's good to work with these little things one at a time, because when it comes to patience, we often want to take on like everything all at once. What I like to do is just go, well, what is one thing that really gets me? And I'm not a guy that gets mad in traffic anymore. I just don't. I look at it as an opportunity to just have a chance to actually just sit there for a couple of minutes and listen to a book or whatever it is. But I'll use traffic as an example. We're so quick to feel like it's the bad traffic is out to get us, and everybody on the road's an idiot but us, and it drives us up the wall. I mean, that's something simple that you can work with every single day. Like, what am I doing? What's agitating me? What are the triggers? Where am I feeling it in my body? I mean, there were times that these little tiny things, like a traffic, for example, but I mean, it wasn't traffic. It could be a million other things. You're almost like not breathing during these moments. You're so impatient and you're so triggered. Like, really watch yourself for a second. I've seen it in people. Just like, you go, take a breath, take a second and take a breath, and think about what the situation really is, and how you can change it and how you can flip it and how you could take something positive out of it. Just do it one at a time until it becomes routine. And then you move on to the next thing. You're not going to take them all on at once.
Yeah. And I had a really good friend remind me recently that we attract things, we attract our own lessons. So the things that we need growth, the areas that we need growth and we have lessons that we need to overcome, we attract those
Yeah.
so that we have the opportunity to make different decisions, to make better decisions, and learn how to resolve and how to have relationships with one another. And I think that that's a really important teaching. Edgar Casey spoke a lot about that as well in relationships. And I think stepping back and looking at ourselves is always what we have to do, doing the introspective, going inside and saying, what is it about me that I need to change
Mm.
to make this situation better?
Yeah, yeah, and there are times too that it there are times it might even be our fault, but there's nothing we're gonna do for somebody else or to somebody else to change the game. It No matter if you're right or if you're wrong, it is just about you and taking care of yourself. No matter what it is, no matter how wrong or how you feel wronged, it's just about you at the end of the day. So that makes the decision a hell of a lot easier. I wanted to bring this up to you because I thought it was an interesting way of looking at patience. I read this thing from Albert Einstein. Um, it's not, he said this, if it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with the problem a little bit longer. So,
Mm.
and I thought that was such a great quote on patience because um, that's we push away so many of the problems. Once things get really, really difficult, it's almost easier for us to survive, to kind of shun it and move on to something else. And I think the reason why Einstein did all the amazing things that he's done, and a lot of the great teachers, scientists, inventors, just great overall people of the world, is because they actually stick with this stuff. They realize that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not always going to work out, but this is it. It's supposed to be hard. If I really do love it, if this really does connect me to my soul, I'm gonna stick with it because we've all been there in our jobs. Our jobs, I know for me too. I mean, there were times back in the day where I thought I do a radio show and I play in a band, and there were times that I thought like, I don't know, man, is this me? Is this still me? Is this who I am? And here I am at 44 years old going, am I making the money I thought I'd be making when I was 20? No. Am I in the place where I thought I'd be when I was, 20 years old? No. Am I happier doing what I do right now than I've ever been? I am. I am. And because I'm accepting of the fact that it's not always going to be exactly how I want it to be. So you surrender control, and then you work patiently. You commit to these things. You commit to them. If you really love them, you make the commitment to make it right.
Right. That's the other thing too is like, career and longevity of relationships and different things like that. We have to be patient with ourselves within those situations too, because we do a lot of times hold ourselves to a higher standard or a higher accountability, that we have these expectations that we'll be a millionaire by 32,
Mm.
that kind of thing. Or we'll be in this greatest relationship that offers unconditional love and blah, 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 blah. And honestly, that we are connected with people who challenge us, and that's how we grow through love, is really the win there. And, you know, looking at long-term things and having patience with ourselves and not having these expectations that just are not attainable is something else that we need to look at.
Yeah, that is such an excellent point because we beat ourselves up if we don't hit our goal by the timeline that we set. And when it comes to finding your true self, there is no timeline. It is completely outside of space and time. And the fact that people do that to themselves, it's torture. It's putting yourself on the torture rack. I mean, you're mentally and physically torturing yourself because you're gonna feel it up here, of course, but you're also gonna feel it all over your body. and we've talked about how how disease works quite a few times on this show. There's a really great story I heard from Jack Cornfield, and it was on I believe a lecture that he gave on perfection of patience back in the day. And a young man walks into a Zen monastery, and he goes up to the master and he says to the master, how long is it going to take me to get enlightened? I want to get enlightened now. Like that's the ultimate goal, right? Like everybody's pushing towards enlightenment. How long is it going to take me? I'm going to do whatever it takes. And he said, I don't know, 10 years. He goes, well, what if I did everything you asked me to do, but I did it like times 100? Like I went harder than anybody. And then the Zen master said to him, I don't know, 20 years now. So like that's that's the idea.
Right.
It's like you're forcing things that aren't supposed to be there. You just kind of got to let it happen. You got to let go. You have to surrender to these things. And
Mhm.
I love that. I thought of that story the second you brought up patience to me, and I wrote down, tell the young man who goes to the Zen master story.
That's great. Yeah, the Gnostic teachings talk about the spiritual journey to enlightenment. And, the ideal is that it's not about the destination of finally getting to the point of enlightenment. It's about releasing the ego along the way. It's about the journey in the path to enlightenment. And
Yeah.
by the way, the further you get down the path, the more you walk down the path, the harder the challenges are going to be because they go deep within your soul of things that you've been dealing with
Yeah.
lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So things don't get easier on that journey to enlightenment. They get
No.
more playful and challenging, right?
Yes, yes, they get more challenging, but I think you said it, playful. You have to be playful with a lot of these things. You can't take it too damn seriously. You just can't. It's things are already heavy. Why do you want to add to the heaviness? It's like you look at the year and you look at the quarantine and the whole pandemic situation, and then you look at the election and you look at just all the social injustice and everything going on in the world. Now, like you could feed into that and you can be a part of that machine and you can keep that machine going, or you could just accept that it's there and do something in your everyday life for yourself. Don't worry about everybody else. Just handle yourself and do something that helps push us forward just a little bit. Like we're not going to do it on our own, but we're just a small, tiny piece to the puzzle. We're all these little tiny bits of energy just kind of flowing through this place. And sometimes, as we've seen, when we push against each other, it doesn't quite work. And that's been proven a million times over. But when we're accepting more of each other and we're patient with each other and we're understanding that we're all on a different journey, we're all telling our own story, a different story. And the, the fact that like we respect that about each other is the whole idea of what enlightenment is. Because if you look like the Buddhist practice, right? Yes, you have the Buddha and he's enlightened and everybody knows the story. But the idea of the bodhisattva, who is somebody on the path to awaken others, and that's what we're trying to do for each other. So by maybe it was by you like flipping out on the person on the phone, that awakened something in you. Maybe she thought, maybe I can handle this a little bit better, so next time she got on the phone with somebody, it got a little bit better. And then it got better for you the second you got on the phone with the other guy and you explained what your story is, and that guy was patient enough to sit through it and let you get that out. And that was a total stranger. So to me, that's beautiful. That's the idea, right? Of
Right,
patience.
absolutely. And you talk about the individuality, yet we're all just trying to get to that same point of recognizing that we are one, that we are all connected, that we are all of source, that
Yeah.
there is no individuality between us, yet we have to be respectful and mindful of all of the individuality in each person, in each soul.
Yeah, delighting
So,
in the separateness. Delight in it, enjoy it. You're an important piece to the whole thing.
mhm,
Um, but whether you're sweeping a floor, whether you're hitting a baseball, whether you're putting in a brand new beautiful floor in the Powers household, you're making radio, you're a spiritual teacher, no matter what it is you do, it's no more important than the next person. And it's no more special than the next person. It's just a piece to the puzzle. And in the next lifetime, you could be doing the complete opposite. And that person who might, according to like social status, might be below you on the totem pole, but who knows? Next one, they're probably gonna jump you. So be prepared for it. Handle that person and talk to that person the way that you'd want to be treated, because no matter who you are, there's always somebody who is maybe, you know, maybe they're on a different path, but maybe they're a little bit closer, and you'd want that person to treat you the way you want to be treated. It's a really simple thing, but you know, nobody likes to feel small.
Right.
So you know, again, be patient with everybody, all of us.
And self. And self. We always have to throw
Self,
self in there. A lot of
self,
times
got
not
to.
self. So someone asked the question of Edgar Casey talks a lot about ideals, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's not typically a word that we use in our language today is ideals, but it truly it is our belief system. It's where we align our purpose and our mission and sort of like our north star. How do we want to live? Do we want to
Yeah.
be kind? Do we want to be generous? You know, oftentimes we even have negative ideals that we go in a different direction as well, but it is our belief system and it's where we align our energy to. So we
Yeah, yeah, I
talk
think
about
it's
ideals.
yeah, I think it's really important because it makes decision making really easy, or a lot easier than it normally is. You know, oftentimes we're hit with these really big decisions in life, and instead of really going inward and asking ourselves, you know, what works for me, what aligns with my path, we've tended to, I know I have, ask everybody and everybody's mother, and then everybody's
Yeah.
grandmother, and then everybody's great grandmother if they were still alive. And you know, you'd be like, well, what do I do? What do I do here? Do I take this raise? Do I take this new job? Do I move? Do I buy the new car? But then you ask yourself, like, what do I want? And I think about a lot of my life decisions and how they would be so much different now than they were then, but I would not be able to do it now if I did not have that back then, or the things that I've run into and decisions that I've made. Like right now, I mean, as much as I love the white minivan, uh, I want to get a new car, and everybody, it's time. I have to get one anyway. But everybody's telling me, well, you should be getting a Jeep. You should do this. You should get this kind of car. You're on the radio. You should. And I said, well, what's your car? I said, well, when I was 19, 20, I wanted a Cadillac. Oh, you're gonna get a Cadillac? No, I'm gonna get a Toyota Corolla hatchback. And well, why would you do that? I was like, because that's what I want. It's good on gas. It'll carry my music equipment around. It's all I need. It's all I need. And I would not have made that decision 20 something years ago. But it that came with being patient with myself, and being patient with myself even when I didn't know I was being patient with myself. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 a, you know, you're in the curriculum every day. You're taking the curriculum every single day. You know, you're in school every single day. And are you going to learn from it, or are you just going to, you know, you're going to sleep through class? I
That's
don't know.
knowing the truth and being in alignment with the truth. So, and that's what's important.
And I know the Toyota Corolla is not that cool, so nobody make fun of me on the stream, okay? Please. Not
I
as
think
cool as
it's cool.
Kathy's car, but I, you
It's
know,
great on gas. So
that's what I'm
there you go.
going for. That's what I'm going for. The environment, gas, the whole thing. Like I'm just, it's either that or a Honda, something that, you know, is going to run forever. And I don't have to do a lot to it because I'm not, I know I may look like a car guy, but I'm not much of a car guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think my favorite car was a little Toyota Yaris that I had that was just manual everything. And I just love that car. I loved it so much.
Because it's
And
simple, right? You didn't really have
well,
to
it was
think
so
about it a
simple.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it just got me to point A from point A to point B. And that was the goal.
That's it.
So
That's all I'm going for. But
Yeah.
It takes time.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if you want to buy that Cadillac, buy it when you're young and silly.
Black. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, Mike, it was great talking to you tonight. I really appreciate these conscious conversations that we
Yeah,
have. I hope that
this was
everyone
great.
else
Yeah, this
here
was great
enjoyed it
tonight.
as well. We'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about more stuff.
I'll tell
And
you what, I got to take the pressure off you a little bit. I realize, I know we've both been like super busy, but I realize like you've been super, super busy. And I'll pick the next topic. How's that sound? Or
oh,
if
that sounds
somebody
great.
wants, yeah, or somebody wants to leave some comments, we always like to go back and read the comments and answer when we're not, overly swamped with things. We're on a computer all day long, as most of you are now. But yeah, like maybe leave some comments and what we should talk about in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be happy to take a look and see what happens. But thank you again, Kathy. Amazing. This was a great conversation, and I hope, I know I did, but I hope all of us took away a little something. And if I could, I'd like to say one more thing from the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. Nature does not hurry, yet everything gets accomplished. And that's
Oh,
just something to leave you with as we
absolutely.
wrap up our patience conversation.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, and thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, for being here. And we'll see you next in 2 weeks.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye bye.